Is my wig making your eyes itchy? Oh no, my wig. Hello, my dears. I'm Elizabeth R. Jimenez, and I am a published American mangaka and the creator of the manga series Sacred. I travel to a ton of conventions every year, all to promote my story and to meet my readers. And at these conventions, I meet so many aspiring authors, all asking the same questions, and of course, I'm always happy to answer them. So, what are these questions, you ask? The same questions you guys ask me every month, every week, every day online. How do you create a manga page? What's the basic process from writing a story to actually drawing out a page? Do you plan every page out, or do you just make it up as you go along? And what materials and programs do you use to create your manga? After years of getting these questions and years of people begging me to make a video kind of describing the basic process, I thought it's about time to give them what they're asking for. So not to worry, guys, I'm going to answer everything here for you. First, we'll start off by talking about how to prepare your writing, and then later, I'll create a manga page and explain the whole process as I go along. I'll also be giving you some really useful tips and tricks along the way. And to help me illustrate my points, here's newly published author, Nina. Hi. But before we begin, please note that this video will not be teaching you how to write a story, how to overcome writer's block, or how to create and design characters. That'll all be covered in future videos. Also, I'm a traditional artist, which means I do not use digital media. I only use Photoshop to add sound effects and the text to my manga, so I will not be covering how to use manga or comic creating programs at all, okay? So now that we got that out of the way, let's get started. Step 1. Writing your story. Before you ever lift a pencil to create your manga or comic, be sure you know and understand your story. You must have it written out. Every artist has their own method for creating their stories, but I noticed that many of you seem to have a lot of trouble getting your idea down on paper, saying that writing it all down kind of feels unnatural and that it takes away from the creative process. Not to worry. Tip number 1, 2 solutions for getting your writing written. Method 1, recording yourself while you tell your story. And then he stood on the corner right there behind the building with his gun to his chin, just in case the killer just came out of nowhere and started causing some chaos and some trouble. And then boom, it was like a humongous explosion, and debris was just everywhere. Yeah, let's play that. And then later, playing the recording and then writing down everything he said. That way, you still get to get that really awesome creative experience without all that typing getting in the way. Or you can try method 2, dictating your story to a friend while they type it out for you. With his gun to his chin, just in case the killer just came out of nowhere and started causing some chaos and some trouble. And then boom, it was like a humongous explosion, and debris was just everywhere. Yeah. This method is especially helpful for those who need a little more feedback and they want to run their story by someone first, or for those who are looking to avoid typing altogether. When I write out my stories, I usually write them like it's a novel. And if you do the same thing, you're going to have to do a lot of trimming and editing, because the next step is to divide your writing up into chapters and scripts. Take your writing, create a copy of that file, and only edit the copy. Tip number 2, leave the original file untouched and safe. It is such a good idea to have a really in-depth version and backup of your script. It's always a good idea. Now, with the copy, you'll begin to simplify the descriptive paragraphs into short one-liners describing the character's expressions and any important body language. Basically, think about what the script of a play looks like. That's what we're going for. Tip number 3, super important. Try your best to have at least 10 chapters worth of writing done before you ever begin to draw a single page of your manga. We as artists are always developing and our storytelling styles are always changing. So what you like today, you might kind of hate tomorrow. Oh yeah, I could just add in that his wife is like a secret agent and that she's actually... Oh, wait a second, I can't do that. I already drew out a whole chapter. Oh no, that detail won't make any sense now. So, if you started your manga and you only have about 2 or 3 chapters completely planned out in script version, and you start drawing out your pages, chances are at some point you're going to really regret that, because you'll start wanting to make all sorts of changes and you had all these pages drawn out already. So do yourself a favor and plan every little detail out first. Authors rewrite their stories numerous times before they're ever happy with it, so don't feel bad if you have to keep rewriting your story. Keep working on it until it's perfect and until you're happy with it. Tip number 4, going back to writing your scripts, you can also make single line descriptive descriptions of things like the lighting, camera angles, all sorts of little things like that, which will really come in handy in the next step. Step 3, sketching and planning pages. Now that you've written your scripts, it's time to read them and visualize your pages. Think about movies and animes you've watched, and think about the camera angles, the lighting, and how all of that affected the mood of what you were watching. Also think about manga and graphic novels you've read. As you read each line of your script, think about what you want your readers to feel while they read that line. Do you want them to laugh, to cry, feel scared or excited? If you guys would like an in-depth tutorial explaining you and showing you how to actually plan out every panel of your pages, please feel free to request that tutorial in the comments below. Once you've envisioned the scene, make a little doodle next to the line directly on your scripts. Make little notes about the type of shading, size or shape of the panel, anything you like to remember really. Do this for the entire script. I prefer doing this step before drawing out any sketches of my pages because I become more familiar with the script, and on top of that, I could read over a line and be like, wait, that doesn't sound as good as I remember it sounding, and actually taking this extra step to plan out everything will allow me to catch those little tidbits that don't really sound all that good, and I could trim them out in this step, and I could just get rid of them. Step 4, sketching out pages and panel layouts. This step is super important because it is the final step before you actually get to draw out your pages. Some people prefer using a sketchbook for this step, but I like using computer paper instead. They're inexpensive and easy to store in a binder. What I like to do is fold the computer paper in half and draw a rectangle on both sides. This represents the pages you'd find printed side by side in your manga. This is so important in terms of storytelling for a number of reasons. If you plan on having a 2-page spread, which means one large image spreads over onto 2 pages, and you don't plan out your pages well enough, when you get the book printed, you might realize that the 2 pages that make up the 2-page spread aren't even next to each other anymore because the number of pages weren't right. You want it to look like this. You see? Another really good reason for why you want to plan out every single last detail of every page is to take advantage of the storytelling opportunity. Here's volume 2 of my series. See this page right here? My character lifts the blanket to reveal something, but what did he reveal? You've got to turn the page to find out. And by planning out every last detail, I've created a page that forced the reader to have to turn the page to reveal what had happened. You understand? It makes them a part of the storytelling experience. By the time all of my sketching and planning is complete, my pages will look something like this. Now we can actually draw our manga! Yes, 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 yes! Step 5. Drawing your pages. Now that you've planned your pages out, you can go ahead and draw out your pages. I'm using professional grade Japanese manga paper. Now, I'll work on the characters. I'll also use India ink for the special effects and shading. Any of you love using quill pens as much as I do? What kind of quills do you prefer?